Welcome to Morfanime. I'm your fan of more anime. How's everybody doing? Today is a great day because I'm going to be taking a deep dive into the Wano Arc, but more specifically Act 2 of the Wano Arc. If you missed my Act 1 review, please get out of here. Go listen to that first. But I am so excited. I can't believe I'm less than 100 chapters away. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm literally less than 100 chapters away from being caught up to where the series is right now. I am so excited to start reading this week to week and reviewing each chapter individually. But Act 2 of Wano, was that a bad boy. I really enjoyed it. I don't mean bad boy as a bad thing. It was fantastic. That was good shiz. It just dense. Oh my god, it was dense. Like, there was so many pages full of dialogue and information and just things that went right over my head, but also things that blew my mind. I really enjoyed Act 2. It's just, I will honestly probably forget something during this review, and you can tell me what it is in the comments. By the way, if you could please give me a comment, please give me a like, please give this bad boy a share, and please subscribe to the Morfanime page. It helps me out oh so well with those YouTube algorithms. So, Act 2. Where do I begin? I guess I'll just start off with the probably my favorite part, and that's Blackbeard making his epic triumphant return to the series after the time skip. Yes, Blackbeard's here, and he's here with his crew on his own island, this pirate-esque island with this giant pirate skull thing he's living in. Who's also there? Gecko Moria, the man who somehow escaped. Doflamingo, back at Marineford. Yes, Doflamingo. I don't know how you let this dude escape, because I can't imagine in a million years that Gecko Moria could ever beat someone or lose to someone like Gecko Moria. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Gecko Moria's alive. And he's here to get his friend back. Apparently Absalom, for some reason, went to this island. Don't know why. He went to this island and he ended up getting murdered. He got murdered by the Blackbeard pirates, and his devil fruit ability was stolen and given to Shiryu the mist or the rain, Shiryu the rain guy. He's now an invisible swordsman, which can be very deadly. And then the only lady that's part of the Blackbeard Titanic captains is also there, and she shows off her mythical zone fruit, the nine-tailed fox, which I would have assumed would have been a zone fruit we would see in Wano. So I'm curious to how she got that. But so apparently she can turn into the nine-tailed fox, which can also transform, kind of like Mr. 2's devil fruit ability. There was a split second where I was worried that we were going to find out that Bon Clay was killed off screen and his powers were taken and given to her for, the transformation devil fruit ability that he had. But luckily that wasn't the case, and she just has a more superior version of his fruit, and she can just transform in her fox transformation, I guess. We'll see. I mean, we just don't have that much information about this lady. She could have had that devil fruit before she got broken out of Impel Down. I don't know. But before this scene ends, Blackbeard tells Gecko Moria, like, shit's going down, son. Pirate alliances and whatnot with the Straw Hat crew and Law and Doflamingo going down. Kaido's in a tiff. Big Mom went down. It's a whole thing. And he's telling him, like, man, you need to join me, Gecko. You have no other option. So we don't know yet what happened. I'm hoping Gecko Moria said no, because I'd be fine with him getting killed and his power taken off screen and given to Burgess. My prediction is next time we see Burgess, he will have a devil fruit ability that he took, or Blackbeard helped him take from somebody else that we've already met. But we will see. So we don't know if Gecko Moria joins, but we do know that Perona is out there looking for Gecko Moria. I hope she is okay, because her Devil Fruit ability is also very valuable, so she could get killed off screen as well. I hope not. I really like Perona. I would be fine with her joining the Straw Hat crew. I like her dynamic with Hawkeye Mihawk, but if she's going to go out without Hawkeye to find her former captain, I didn't even realize that the Thriller Bark crew was so tight. Like, Gecko Moria was out there looking for his crew, looking for Absalom, was pissed that his crewmate was killed and his powers were taken. And then Perona seems to really care about Gecko Moria. So there's some kind of backstory there with Perona that I'd like to see. I'd like to see where she comes from. She's an interesting character. And then Hawkeye Mihawk makes some comment like, there's some shit going down at the Reverie, so maybe it's a good thing to leave this island. So many epic things are happening at once, people. I don't even know where to start. So then we go back to Wano. We get to see the most beautiful lady in the world. I have her, or not in the world, well, at least at Wano, I have her shit here. Komurosaki, she shows up and she's like taking money from these older men who are trying to buy her, but it's all like a ruse. She's just a total bitch when you first meet her. She's like, I don't know who you are, thank you for the money. But of course Oda turns it on its head. Turns out this lady is actually Momo's sister, Hayori. What? Holy shit. And we find out the only reason she didn't jump into the future as well is just in case the plan didn't work, that there would still be somebody with the blood of Odin or something. And I was like, okay, I guess, sure. You could have went with Momo. But she's been out here along with other samurai, you know, setting up the plan for 20 years later, which is cool. I'm here for it. Let's go. She goes in and infiltrates Orochi's little castle while he's having a get-together with all his folks, his paid friends. Orochi's a piece of shiz, I'll tell you that right now. But he's got a sick devil fruit transformation. He turns into this giant multi-headed creature, very reminiscent of the monster that Hercules fought in the Hercules Disney movie, the Hydra. Really sick. He turns into this giant snake thing. I thought that was cool. I just don't like him as a person. We will see. He just seems like a total piece of shit for the things that he's done so far as being the leader of Wano. And he's got, only because he has Kaido backing him is the only reason he's there. So then we get some information about, oh yeah, Robin's investigation. She's going around, but she ends up using a clone, which apparently she can create a clone of herself, which that can physically touch things and see things and talk, I believe. So that's cool and interesting and a neat power-up. We have seen her create these clones before, but we haven't seen them talk. Or at least that we know. Well, no, we have. She did create one to talk to Traffy back at... Man, that's crazy. That's a crazy ability to be able to summon another you. How many can she summon? I wouldn't be surprised if down the line she gets a power-up where she can just summon an army of like Shadow Clone style Naruto thing, and she just like, here comes the 100 Nico Robins, and they're just slapping people around, or they can all summon more hands at the same time. That would be an ultimate attack. That'd be kind of fun, huh? No? Stupid? I don't know. I think it's cool. I love Robin. She escapes because these ninjas try to attack her. Orochi's ninja squad, apparently he has. And she runs away. But meanwhile, while this is happening, we meet this little girl that can't stop smiling. And she's just like, ha ha ha, I'm a slave here, but that's okay. And she starts laughing at Orochi for some reason. I can't remember why, because he's like talking about what happened 20 years ago and how worried he is, and everybody just thinks he's crazy. And so he says, well, since you want to laugh at me, I'm gonna kill you, and turns into a multi-headed snake. And then the most beautiful lady in the world, Momo's sister, comes up, and before we find out he's his sister, or she's his sister, she slaps him. Harry slaps Orochi, and he's just like, what did you do? Oh, man. And while this is all happening, you know, Robin's running away. She doesn't know what to do. Nami, I think, is there. Or she's in the rafters along with that ninja lady that's part of the crew. And she's like, what do I do? Nami ends up summoning Zeus at some point and just lightninging everybody. I'm so happy that Robin got that power up, Zeus. But it makes me wonder, like, if something happens to Big Mom, will Zeus die? Because if he's part of her soul, or does he just have his own lifespan and he could just live out his life as Nami's slave weapon? Let me think. Oh, this is weird. One of Orochi's bodyguards, this dude with this Pompeii, comes up and cuts down Momo's sister, and we think she's dead. But then later we see her hooking up with Zoro. She shows up with the little girl after they escape somehow. There's a lot of jumps in time during Act 2 where we miss certain things, and it feels like maybe Oda's going to give it to me later. I hope, because it seems like we're missing some important factors. But she bounces and gets away, luckily, along with the little girl that she was protecting. And Orochi's pissed that the most beautiful lady he was going to force to be his wife is now dead. But he, can't be mad at his bodyguard for killing somebody for defying him. Fair. Or at least attempting to kill somebody that defies him. And so, like I said, she runs into Zoro. And she's being chased. She's being chased by none other than Killer. Yes, the same Killer that's Kid's right-hand man. Yeah, he's been somehow psychologically manipulated or forced to join Orochi and the Kaido crew in some way, shape, or form. And he's been sent here to kill that little girl who escaped and at least finish her off. And Zoro is in the middle of trying to get his sword. God, what's it called? Shisui? And he can't get it back from this weapon collector dude that's telling him, no, this is a sword that's, precious to the treasures of Wano. You can't have it. And you're just like, come on, dude, let Zoro have his sword. We've got bigger problems here. At the time, I thought this dude, was working for somebody in Kaido's crew, but he's not. He's just taking weapons for a particular reason. And Killer ends up getting into a fight with Zoro while Zoro protects the little girl with the smile and Momo's sister in a really cool clash between two supernovas. I was just like, what? When I found out that was actually Killer, I had to go back and reread that section. But he ends up using scythes as a weapon, by the way, Killer does. And he puts a scythe right into Zoro's shoulder, and you're just like, shit. And I'm assuming Zoro just grips with his muscle. And, Killer can't even pull it out of his shoulder. And Killer's like, it's okay, I have one scythe to kill you with. And, Killer can't stop smiling or laughing. And he's got a really weird laugh, like, One Piece characters do. I think it's like, fwa, 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 fwa. And here comes Zoro, a badass. He's like, you bitch, now I have this injury that I have to recover from before the big war in a week. He puts the scythe in his mouth, and I shit you not, does a 3-sword style attack with a scythe and takes out Killer pretty easily, but not necessarily easily, but he collapses afterwards after using all of his hockey powers and badassery. Luckily, Momo's sister ends up taking him and the girl and, treating his wounds, and he gets some time to heal, and he even says, there's no reason for me to go out of here while shit's going down and helping Kinemon and whatnot, because too many chiefs, not enough Indians, I'm hurt, I just need to recover for the big war. Fair. It's even funnier when Brooke shows up and sees her sleeping with Zoro, and he's like, "What are you doing here? Also, can I see your panties?" And I was just like, "Come on, Brooke. Is this really all you have to offer right now?" Brooke that's really all Brooke got to do. He did get to turn into a ghost, Brooke, and chase, Wano people around, and they're like, "Oh, it's an evil spirit." That's really all Brooke got to do. I'm hoping that maybe during this firework festival, maybe he'll get to rock out or something, or at least get a battle that he can be involved in. I would like to see more for Brooke. I would. So then, later, we get to see Sanji, or not necessarily later, but around the same time, Sanji's, cooking soba noodles at some point during the Act 2. He gets, punked around by some thugs. He beats their ace. Then later, even later then, Drake and Hawkins show up, who now both work for Kaido, as we know about Hawkins, but Drake, the dude that used to be a Marine, it's just weird that Drake wanted to join Kaido's crew. If you remember correctly, he came to the New World in search of Kaido, and he, attacked one of Kaido's men, and he's like, "How do I get in contact with Kaido?" Did he want to join his crew? Did he know Kaido was the best there is out there? Is that the guy he wants to put all his chips behind to be the king of the pirates? Is that what Drake wants? Or does Drake, maybe because he was part of the Marines and he saw how fucked up they are, knew that he needed to push somebody like Kaido towards destroying the Marines or the government as itself, and he might think that he has to align himself with Kaido for that to happen. That's my theory. We'll see if it plans out. But either way, they come. Drake and another dinosaur guy show up, and they threaten Sanji, who's like, "Fuck, Sanji, you can't get involved. If you get involved, they're going to know that you're here." So Sanji ends up pulling out the Germa 66 outfit that he got before he left Whole Cake Island. And he goes full on, Sailor Moon transformation. Pow! Number 3, stealth mode. So now he has the ability to turn invisible, which to me is just a little much, because I know we all know that he wanted to have the clear fruit so he could turn invisible, but now that he's just been gifted this suit that for some reason also has that ability, to me was a little like, whoa, that's a little convenient, Oda, but I trust you. And so he looks badass in this suit. New outfit power-up thing. Who knows how strong he can be now. And he ends up taking out this dinosaur guy, who really wouldn't be surprised if we never see again. Doesn't actually fight Drake. So maybe later in the arc, he'll fight Drake. I'm not sure. I'm assuming the other dinosaur guy was part of also Drake's crew in some way, shape, or form before he joined Kaido. I don't know. So he does that. We get to see Soba Mask. And like I said, then a little later, we get to see Drake and Hawkins break into the bathhouse with Nami and Robin and the ninja lady who are all bathing. Which, you know what? Now that I mention that, Carrot I don't think was there. Carrot wasn't in Act 2 really at all. Carrot didn't get to do a whole lot necessarily except for the Sulong thing back at... Man, I feel bad for Carrot. I thought that she was going to be much more important at this point in the series, and really the only thing she's done was turn into Sulong form since we met her and dodge one of Zoro's attacks. That's sad. Either way, bathhouse scene with Nami and Robin. Then Drake shows up and he's like, whoa, and I love this because Nami pulls out an attack that she hasn't used since Alabasta. She does the thing where she takes, she flashes him basically and says, happiness punch. And I just thought that was hilarious and a great callback. I really remembered that clearly. And turns out Sanji was in there the whole time. He's in his stealth outfit and he helps them escape. Cool little scene. Nothing to write home about, but cool. It seems what Sanji's priorities are after now having the ability to turn invisible. So now we have Luffy back at prison. He's actually turned this prison sentence into a competition with Kid, where he's, you know, they have to do manual labor for food, and he's working his ass off. He's got to wear these sea prism stone handcuffs that don't necessarily make him too weak, but not strong enough to fight back, but also he can't use his powers. They're like a dumbed down version of sea prism handcuffs. They might have been the same kind that were on Ace during Marineford, because he just seemed like he wasn't completely drained, per se. Either way, eventually Luffy does cause havoc. Kid does escape at some point. Luffy ends up actually ending up in a arena type sumo fight thing, because he defended this old man who I wrote his name down for you guys so I wouldn't forget. His name was Rio, who actually teaches Luffy some shit about armament hockey, because this whole time Luffy's in the prison, he's training, trying to perfect his hockey. So luckily for him, very luckily, Queen, one of, you know, Kaido's right-hand men who runs this prison, decides to take off Luffy's sea prism handcuffs like a big dum-dum. Because why would you do that? You're going to send him to a death sentence and make him fight everybody in the prison. How much does Queen not know about Luffy at this point? He has ruined your whole operation. He took down the guy who's been delivering you the smile so you could make your artificial devil fruits. What's going on? I don't know. Oh man, Queen, why would you take off Luffy's handcuffs? But they do put a neck brace around Luffy, which will decapitate him if he leaves this sumo circle. Him and the old man, they're sitting in there, very similar to the neck braces, the bombs that they put on the slaves back at Sabaody. So Luffy uses this, you know, he turns lemonade, you know, lemons into lemonade, however you say that. And he says, well, I'm going to use this time as a training period. Oh yeah, what a cool way to incorporate a training arc within an arc, Oda. I appreciate the way you made this all flow together. He ends up beating the crap out of some nobodies, and he even challenges Queen, like, you get in here and fight me. It's a cool way for him to learn advanced armament hockey, and during it we find out he's also advanced his observation hockey. After his fight with Katakuri, he can actually see a little bit into the future now, which is pretty wild. The same kid from the East Blue is now looking into the future and is about to master this advanced version of armament hockey where he doesn't even have to touch his opponent. He's basically learning like a energy blast of sorts that goes outside of his body. He can push his armament out of himself, which I thought was kind of a cool way to advance that. And a cool way for him to get a little stronger. And when the next time he ends up fighting Kaido, it'll all make sense to why he is now capable of damaging him, while before he threw everything he had at him and it wasn't enough. So, our boys... Okay, back to Zoro. Zoro finds out that the old man that he actually hung out with at the beginning of Act 2, which I haven't really touched on, this old guy who's also got a big smile as well. Let me see if I can find his name, if I wrote it down. Ooh, what's his name? Yasui is what I got here. Yasui. Smile guy whose daughter is Otiku, the smile girl. Atiku, whatever. Yasui. He turned himself in, basically, and said that he's the one who's been passing out these cards to get the revolution started, so that he would take the heat off of Kinemon and his crew while they're getting ready for the revolution, getting ready for the coup, basically. And so he's by the way, I didn't mention this. There's so much going on. I'm sorry. They ended up capturing everybody who have the crescent moon tattoo in town, which sucks. And it makes me think, why would you get a tattoo? It's so obvious. Maybe they should have did something different. Either way, they capture all of them, And they have this guy all staked up and they're going to kill him. And it's like very sad. Because when you first meet this dude, Yasui, you think this guy's just a gag character. He's always smiling. We actually meet a whole bunch of people that can't stop smiling in this whole smiling town. And it really just feels like something that Oda would put into an island, an area where everybody just laughs and has a great time. Turns out it's really messed up. Like, really messed up, and makes you hate Orochi even more. He has been feeding the defective smile fruits to the poor people outside of the, Flower Kingdom as basically a sick joke. So now everybody has to keep smiling because apparently the smile devil fruits have a 1 in 10 chance of failing. And when they fail, you're stuck always smiling and having a good time. If they work, you kind of get a transformation of sorts. You turn into an animal-like person, but they don't seem to have full control. It doesn't seem like a good deal to eat these at all. I'd much rather not have a devil fruit ability than have these. But they only need to take 1 bite to get the power, right? So somebody takes a bite, they smile, it's like, oh, he's out. So they take a bite, and they end up giving these apples, which are basically just apples or different fruits with the smile in it, to the poor, and they eat it even though they know that it's going to cause this permanent facial smile thing, and they can't have any emotions anymore other than laughter and happiness. And that's pretty dark. And they're gonna die if they don't eat these apples. There's not much food out there for them. It's fucked up. So this guy takes the blame for the revolution cards that have been sent out to everybody, and makes Orochi look like a damn fool by quoting the former shogun, I believe. And then he assassinates, he executes Yoryu right in front of his daughter, who runs up, and she's just like, "No, Dad." And he's like, "I'm sorry for leaving you. It was so sad. It was so sad." And she's just like, "Here's some toad oil." And then Usopp's there, and he's like, "No, the toad oil was all a ruse. My lies have come to bite me." That's so sad. But luckily for this little girl, this is probably my favorite scene during Act 2, actually. The guy with Orochi ends up putting his gun back up, and he's aiming at the little girl. He's like, "Ha, you're the little girl that laughed at me, and you're the reason the most beautiful woman in the world's dead." And he ends up firing his bullets at her, and the best scene ever, the best tag team in all of One Piece, Sanji, Zoro show up, and they deflect these bullets. And it's just, I can only imagine how it is in the anime. I assume you hear the bum, 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 bum. And then that episode ends with, Sanji and Zoro standing tall, reuniting after so long. You're just like, yeah! I was so hyped for that. And then they end up having to fight with more of Kaido's men. It was a whole ordeal, but they saved the little girl. Thank goodness. They get away with help from Frankie, who comes in with his weapons left, and he defends Zoro, and everybody's there. I like that the Straw Hat crew was able to act without permission from their captain, and they knew that there was really no other way around this situation. And luckily for the little girl, she gets away, but her dad died, which is pretty sad. It's so sad. Orochi's just the worst. Luffy eventually breaks out of prison. But before he does, let's go back a little bit, because we do get to see what happens to Big Mom, who tries to infiltrate. She does try to infiltrate Wano by going up the rapids with the koi fish, but they get knocked off that cliff, that waterfall, by King, one of, really, literally Kaido's right-hand man, who can turn into a pterodactyl, by the way. And he knocks them off. Big Mom ends up hitting her head on something, loses her memory, has amnesia, which I'm not sure how to feel about, really. I mean, I was like, great. So she has amnesia, but it all kind of works out. So I have no problem with it, because she does get her memory back not too long later. So it's not weird to lose your memory for a short period of time. I just would have been so mad if she became a good guy from that point on permanently and never remembered being a villain or something. She gets manipulated sort of by the power of friendship with Chopper and the dumpling cheek girl. And they trick her sort of into breaking into the prison that Luffy's in and telling her there's a bunch of food in there. And then she's actually like, yeah, I'll get this food and we'll all eat it and have a big feast. It's going to be great. She breaks into the prison in the middle of Luffy's, trial and whatnot, and Kid and Killer are also now back in that prison. And Kid's really pissed now that he's seen what happened to Killer. Obviously, they're being drowned by Queen, and he tells Luffy, until you die, they're going to stay drowning. The minute you die, I'll pull them out of the water. What? Queen is sadistic, man. But like I said, luckily for Luffy, a Big Mom shows up and ends up getting into a fight with Queen. Oh my god. And Queen turns into this Brachiosaurus thing, ancient zone fruit thing, and they go at it for a minute, but Big Mom is a powerhouse. She swings him by his dinosaur neck or tail and beats the shit out of Queen, and knocking Killer and Kid out of the water. Luckily for them, Luffy had to escape from these collars and ends up not necessarily mastering his advanced armament hockey, but he's able to do that same thing that Rayleigh did back at Sabaody when he took off Kami's neck brace explosive and threw it away. He did the same thing with these, decapitator neck braces, and he saved the old man and himself instinctively. And they end up using Big Mom as a distraction, and luckily, oh god, who was it? Oh yeah. Queen ends up jumping off this large cliff and doing a diving headbutt onto Big Mom, knocking her out. They chain her up with every piece of Sea Prism Stone they could possibly find and take her away. And he tells Loretta, he's like, she's more important than this Straw Hat Kid. Seriously. Takes her away. He ends up telling the jailers to take care of this problem. Luffy ends up getting everybody in the prison, which turns out to be perfect for Kinemon, who's trying to build an army. Basically, everybody he's ever needed is in this prison, which makes so much sense. And he gets them to turn on Queen thanks to Momo showing up. And they're like, oh shit, Momo, the son of Odin, you're here. The 20-year prophecy is happening. We're here for it. Luffy, you're a leader. We're standing behind you, even though you're a pirate. They end up taking over the prison. It's awesome as all heck. Luffy mastered that ability. It's all making sense. Zoro ends up getting a new sword, not the Shishui back, which surprised me. I really thought that he needed to still master the Shishui sword, but he ends up getting a better sword. The Odin's blade, the only blade to cut Kaido or something. And he got this sword and he's just like, let me test this out. And he's like, I'm going to cut the branch off that tree. And then ends up cutting the cliffside off of this, ocean area. And you're just like, what is happening? And then you see Zoro's arm turn into a husk because all his armament hockey is being drained by this sword. And this sword somehow has a mind of its own of sorts. And Zoro looks at it as a challenge. Even Kinemon was like, he didn't say no, you can't have the sword like he did with the Shishui. He was just like, I wouldn't touch that sword personally, just FYI. But Zoro sees it as a challenge. Zoro's back to 3-sword style. His shoulder somehow is fully healed now. Great. Like I said, Brook didn't get to do a whole lot. Frankie and Usopp got the really important job of leading the Carpenter crew of fixing all the ships that they've been collecting over the last 20 years. The guy who actually took the Shishui from Zoro, turns out he's been collecting weapons for 20 years and keeping them safe for this war. And is actually a crazy fox spirit. of sorts. And I don't know if that's going to come into play later. I would be surprised if this fox spirit becomes more important down the line. But either way, luckily for Kinemon, they left some really important soldiers back in Wano for the last 20 years who have been putting together this plan, have been gathering ships and weapons, and bad things have been happening for sure, and people's spirits have been broken. But thanks to Luffy and the Straw Hat crew being involved, they're, everybody's getting riled up now for this war. The one question I have, though, for Luffy and Kinemon is, and Kinemon was there, he knows about the Straw Hat fleet. And I mentioned this in my Act 1 review. Why don't they go and get the information out to the Straw Hat fleet to at least show up and back them up? Like, wouldn't it be epic if, so this war happens and you have all these samurai fighting against hundreds, or thousands of more of these beast pirates, but then you have the Straw Hat fleet show up at the last hour after everybody's beat up and they need help and they need a refreshed crew of pirates to back them up. You see Bartolomeo and Cavendish lead this army of 5,000, great powerful pirates that were back at Dressrosa. They are able to take out the already weakened beast pirates. It would be epic. And that would be my prediction, because I find it hard to believe that not 1 second that Luffy or somebody, part of his crew, were like, don't you have like a crazy amount of followers now, Luffy? Like, let's get them on the phone. Let's get the whole gang down here, because they're in some deep doo-doo, because Big Mom ends up reuniting with Kaido, who, they were apparently former crewmates, which is scary. And they've decided to team up. They've decided to turn this into a team up, and they are going to take out all their enemies, and then they'll fight each other. And they'll figure out their differences later, but they're drinking and having a good time. Wow. Kaido didn't get to do a whole lot in Act 2. It really was a lot of training and a lot of lore, Wano lore. Kinemon was really just there to, follow, I think his name was Shutamaru. What's his name? Jesus, I wrote it down. Yeah, Shutamaru, the dude that we thought was a bad guy in Act 1, who was a badass that took out Jack. He joins. I have a prediction that Otama, the dumpling girl, is going to play a big role in the future. I really hope that her ability won't allow her to take control of Kaido, and that's how they win, because that just seems like something Oda might do. Yeah, I think all my notes here. Oh yeah, we get to find out more about Apu and Hawkins and why they joined the Kaido crew. Apparently Apu betrayed them. He was always part of Kaido's crew, and he is a devout member, and he helped Kaido ambush our boys Kid, Hawkins, and Killer. And so I guess Hawkins, he tells all this information to Law, who gave himself up. By the way, sorry I forgot, but Law gave himself up for his crew, which was captured during Act 2 and then released. And then Hawkins reveals his ability to create these straw dolls of people. So, he tells Law, basically, if you hurt me, your crewmates will die. And it's weird. It jumped around. Maybe I missed a chapter, but it felt crazy. Like Law gets locked up and tells his crew not to tell Luffy. But then at the end of Act 1, he gets out, but they don't really show how his fight went with Hawkins or why they even fought. It looked like Hawkins was all cut up and divided like he did to Vertigo back at Punk Hazard. Something happened there that I was unclear about. I want to know more about what's happening at the Reverie. That's something I'm dying to know more of, but I am happy we got to see more Blackbeard. We got to see more Perona. There's a lot of really cool things happening right now in Wano. And, you know, Zoro got a power-up. Sanji got a power-up. We got to see Nami's power-up in action. We know Nico Robin can summon full-fledged clones now. Frickin' Frankie and Usopp are being helpful by building ships. Brook is doing absolutely nothing. Chopper manipulated Big Mom, which was cool. And he created an antidote for this plague virus that was given to all the prisoners to try and take down Luffy, which was really cool for Chopper to be doctoring like he do. Act 2 was dope. This is Morfanime. What did you think of my review? What did I miss? The samurai are cool. They're going to be heading into the war first, and then the Straw Hat crew are going to come in and back them up. Oh, I'm so pumped. I just hope that Luffy calls his boys in, the Straw Hat fleet, and we get this shit done. Take out Kaido. I would like to see a cool Kaido flashback of sorts, just to learn more about him. We got one for Big Mom, so I predict we'll get one for him before the big battle to end all battles. But that's it. Act 2 complete. Jumping into Act 3 soon. I really hope in Act 3 we get some more information on what's going on outside of Wano. Please subscribe. I'll talk to you later.